What do women want? So a couple of months ago, I was reading this book called A Billion Wicked Thoughts. And I heard Jordan Peterson talking about it. So I said, like, why not? Why not, start reading the book? And the book was brilliant, honestly. What the book talks about, it talks about basically male and female desire. Basically, you have the authors who are Ogi Ogas and Sai Gadam. They are basically Google engineers at Google, and they use the internet as kind of like a study, and they analyze billions and billions of Google searches. And these Google searches, they separate them, so male searches and female searches. And the book basically explains like porn, so the porn that men watch and the porn that women watch. So the porn that men watch, we all know it's visual porn, right? It's porn you watch, and it's just sex, right? It's, an attractive woman and a man just having sex, and there are infinite clips on the internet of male porn basically, and it makes complete sense. You have an attractive woman and tons of orgasms, because those are cues to fertility that you can have a baby with this woman. So billions and billions of men were searching on Pornhub, on XXX, on these porn websites. But what was fascinating is that billions of women were searching literary porn, not visual porn like men. It was written, so like books. Porn, but in books. So it was written. And they were searching specifically romance novels, and this makes complete sense. So basically, male porn is just visual porn. It's videos, it's magazines, right? Because men are visually stimulated by women, by women's physical attractiveness. But women's porn is literary. It's written. You read it, right? And it's romance novels. This is what I want to talk about in this video. Is basically, what do women want? What do women desire? What do women, obsess over? Right? Because, so many young men, like even me, I didn't understand this for so long. And when I understood it, it just made so much sense. And I studied this topic for so long, for like years, literally like years, studying this same topic of what do women want. Sigmund Freud actually famously said, after 30 years of psychology, of studying the human brain, he asked, what do women want? The greatest psychologist in history, Sigmund Freud, asked, what do women want? And I'm gonna try my best to answer this question based on everything I've learned in my own life and in my own experience as well. What do women want? Women want the top man, the alpha male, the romantic hero, the highest male in the dominance hierarchy, if that makes sense, the highest value male. So what does that mean? Now let me explain what literary porn is, what romance novels are, like how do they work, right? The romance novels, they're basically like very long stories about, you have this heroine who's this little innocent, attractive young girl, the typical girl, right? And she meets this man who's like the perfect man, right? So he's like jacked, he's very handsome, he's very rich and wealthy, has like tons of money. He has insane status, like all the men respect him and all the women want him. His personality is very mysterious and confident and loving, right? He's literally like the perfect man, right, in terms of what women want, and I'll get to that in a second. But the heroine, she's just obsessed with him. She's just obsessed with this man, and basically the entire story is just the two of them going through so many things, going through so many like hardships and problems and battles in their lives until they, and this is the climax, until they get into a single, not a single, like a happy marriage or relationship or whatever, right? That's like the climax of it. And what the book talks about in A Billion Wicked Thoughts, like, for example, in visual porn, in male porn, you have like so many climaxes, right? Every orgasm is like a climax, right? But in female porn, you have one climax. And that's when the heroine and the hero, the romantic hero, they meet together and they get into a happy relationship and they live happily ever after, right? So I studied this, romantic hero character, because this is what women want. Women want the romantic hero, right? So I'll give you an example, right? I actually read, the most popular romance novel of all time, which is 50 Shades of Grey, right? It sold like 100 million copies, which is like insane, right? And women just love it. Like the girls in the class love it, women just love it, right? So I read it out of curiosity, and it was very weird, I'm not gonna lie, but it just made complete sense. Like you have Anna, who's the heroine, and she's like this young, attractive, innocent girl, and you have Christian Grey, who's like the hero, and he's jacked, right? He's so muscular, and he's a billionaire, right? So he has tons of resources, right? He has tons of status, all the men respect him, and like he has tons of pre-selection, so many, other women want him, right? And he has this personality which is very confident, even arrogant, right? And like very mysterious, and he has this backstory, and he feels very deeply, and what happens basically is he deeply falls in love with Anna, right, in the story. And it's a very erotic story, and there's so much trauma in it, and there's so much like drama in it that just adds to like the novel, right? But if you strip it all down to like the first principles, right? Basically every single romantic hero, women want him, and they're obsessed with him, they desire him, right? Because he has 4 core traits. And they are looks, money, status, and personality. So basically, this is what the book, A Billion Wicked Thoughts, talks about, is what men want is just one core trait, which is looks. And it's kind of like an AND gate, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like an OR gate. So they want, breasts or butts, for example, feet or like breasts, I don't know, right? That's how we think as men, because those are evolutionary biological cues to fertility. But with women, it's an AND gate, so they want more. So they want looks and money and status and personality and confidence and pre-selection and intelligence and a sense of humor. But really, you can put it all into just 4 core traits. This is all what women want: looks, money, status, and personality. Now, why? Why is that? And if you really read like any romance novel, the hero, he always maximizes these 4 core traits, which are looks, money, status, and personality. Every single romantic hero has these same 4 core traits, whether it's, Christian Grey or, I don't know, like Mr. Darcy or Edward Cullen. All of them have the same 4 core traits: looks, money, status, and personality. And I know like so many young men will be like, oh, but women want way more than men and whatever. But the thing is, of course they want more, because biologically, the sex that invests more into the reproductive burden, they will want more than the sex that invests less. So basically because women carry babies, because women take care of babies, and they give way more time and energy to the children and the babies, they want way more in a partner than men, right? This makes complete sense. And if you look at it even like physiologically, like women produce just 400 eggs in their entire lifetime, but men, they produce millions and millions of sperm every single day. And if we think about it like 200,000 years ago, right? If you have sex with a woman and she cheats on you, or she leaves you or whatever. Yeah, you'll get sad, yeah, it'll suck, but it doesn't physically affect you. Like there's not really a problem if you think about it. You had sex with her and whatever, right? And she left you. But for a woman, it's way more costly. You know, when a woman has sex with a man and he leaves her and she gets pregnant, then it's a big problem. And we know that women who get pregnant early and they don't have a partner and they don't have a man, their probability to get into poverty skyrockets. So they are extremely likely to be on the streets and to die even. So women are way more choosy than men because they invest way more in the reproductive burden, right? In the babies and the children and the kids, right? Now, why do women want these 4 core traits? You know, looks, money, status, and personality. And I'll explain each one, and we'll go like into full analytical, you know, scientific mode, right? Why do women want looks? Well, if we think about it 200,000 years ago, if you were a woman, just think with me, if you were a woman and you knew that all you need is to survive and to reproduce, nothing else. And really, if we strip it down to the first principles, all we want as humans, all we care about as humans is just survive and reproduce. That's it. So you want to survive and to reproduce as a woman. Okay. The first thing, of course, you will need in a man is you'll need him to be healthy and fit and you know, muscular and tall and, you know, like masculine, right? Because that signals that he'll have good genes. He'll give you like healthy, good sperm, so you can have like healthy babies, right? And another thing, it signals high testosterone, masculinity. It signals that he can take care of you, he can protect you, right? Because he's healthy. You don't want a man who's fat, right? You don't want a man who's unhealthy, because he'll probably have like very bad sperm. He can't protect you at all. He's slow, he's lazy. You don't want that. You want a muscular, strong, masculine man. You know, I'm talking physically, right? So he can take care of you, right? So that's the first thing, looks. Okay, money. Well, resources have always been important to women, especially because a woman needs resources. A woman needs food. A woman needs a shelter. And so if we think about it really like 200,000 years ago, if you were a woman, you would need a man who has resources, who has, you know, like meat and eggs and food, right? He has like a nice home, a shelter. And really money is resources, basically, if we break it down, right? But yeah, you need that for you and your children, if you have children or if you will have children. So resources have always been important. Money, right? Status. Now status is basically when men respect you and women want you, right? So we'll go over each one. Why do you need men to respect you? Because if men respect you, that automatically means that you're the alpha male. You're like the top man, or you're very high in the male dominance hierarchy, in the social hierarchy. And women are deeply hypergamous. That means they always want the best man, the man at the top, right? The alpha male, the top man, right? That's what the romantic hero is. He's the top man. He's the highest value male, right? So you need men to respect you, and you need women to want you. So women have this thing, right? And this is what the pickup artist and all the, you know, gimmicky pickup artists and the, you know, pickup line guys, this is all their strategy is, right? They all rely on this one thing, which is that women want the man who other women want, if that makes sense. This was actually fascinating in the book, because what the book talks about is women actually had, you know, like subs that they could talk about, like, what are they called? Like, had like communities to talk about, you know, their favorite romance novels and their favorite heroes and their favorite novels together, right? Because we know this, like, women are way more social than men. Let's be honest, right? terms of desire, right? So if you were a woman like 200,000 years ago, you would see the man who other women wanted, and that would mean that he's automatically like the top man. Okay, so that's status. What about personality? If you were a woman 200,000 years ago, you would want a man to be confident. You would want him to be loving as well. So you want him to be loving because that means if he loves you very deeply, right? And this is what romance novels are actually based on. If he really, really loves you, he will commit all his resources to you, right? He won't leave you. And we know, like, this is why, you know, they always say like women want love and men want sex. It's actually pretty true, to be honest, right? Because if a man like loves a woman deeply, that means he'll commit his resources, he'll commit his time and energy to her and her children, right? He won't leave her, and that's what women are most afraid of, is a man will leave her, because that is very, very costly for women, right? So the personality, confident, loving, and probably goal focused, right? You want a man who's focused on his goals, who's focused on becoming the best version of himself, right? You want him to be mysterious, right? That he's focused on his purpose, right? You want him to be a little bit of intelligent, you know, he reads books, he understands how the world works, right? Like, there are so many personality traits that women want, but really if you break it down, it's loving, confident, and mysterious, right? These are like the three core traits, basically. Okay, so how do you, like, if you maximize these four core traits, you become the alpha male, the top man, the romantic hero that women want and desire and obsess over more than any other archetype in all of history, right? You basically become like the ideal mate, you know, biologically and evolutionarily, right? You become like the perfect man for women. All right. Okay, so how do we, as young men, maximize these four core traits and become the man that women desire and obsess over, right? Well, the answer is really simple. Just lock in on self-improvement for 10 to 15 years and you'll get there. You'll get there. So many other men have done it. And you can do it as well. And I can do it. I know this answer is unsexy, but this is literally like what I've learned after years of, you know, studying like what do women desire and obsess over, and what do they want, right, in men. And this is it. Just lock in on self-improvement for 10 to 15 years and become the best man you can be. That's it. And if you don't believe me, go read romance novels. Go read literally like female porn. Like the deepest desire women have. Bro, go read 50 Shades of Grey, man. Like the most popular romance novel of all time. But when I was reading it, and I was, you know, reading about Christian Grey, like who he is, like I was just in my mind like, that's it. Like that, really that's it. He's just a man who's on self-improvement for 10 to 15, 20 years, right? And that's how he became like Christian Grey. And if you read the novel and you read how obsessed like women are with him, yeah, you'll understand so much about female desire, right? But this is really it. Just if you lock in on self-improvement and you become the best man you can become, you will attract and be desired by so many women to a point you won't even believe, right? And this is just from what I've learned, of course, but yeah, that's the truth, based on biology, based on evolution, based on psychology, based on research. That's it. I know this is like an unsexy answer. This is not like the pickup line you were waiting for, but just lock in on self-improvement for 10 to 15 years and you'll become the man women want. And as always, we're in this together and we will make it.